The sky was red. Not just the color of sunset, it was glowing with fire. Ships flew above like angry birds. Trees burned. Smoke rose high into the air, and the ground shook with every blast. Jera ran through the forest, holding her daughter. "Close. Hold on, Luma," she whispered. Her arms were tired. Her legs ached, but she didn't stop. Behind her, shouts echoed, voices of the hunters chasing them. Jera was not like the humans. Her skin was a soft silver. Her eyes glowed faintly. In the dark, her people came from the stars, peaceful, quiet, never looking for war. But now, war had found them. Luma was just 5 years old, her small arms wrapped around her mother's neck, her eyes wide with fear. She didn't cry, she had already cried too much. A sharp sound broke the air, an arrow. It flew past Jera's head and hit a tree. Another came, then another. They're getting closer, she thought. Jera reached a hill. At the bottom was a river. The current was fast, but it was their only hope. She started climbing down, slipping on the rocks. Luma whimpered. More arrows flew. One brushed past Jera's shoulder. She didn't stop. Then a sound that made her heart freeze. An arrow. Too close. Flying fast. She turned and saw it. It was aimed at Luma. Jera didn't think. She spun around, bent low, and took the hit herself. The arrow went deep into her back. Pain exploded in her chest. Her knees gave out, and she collapsed, shielding her daughter with her body. Everything slowed down. Her breath grew short. The world began to fade, but she could still feel Luma, still hear her crying. And then, footsteps. Jera opened her eyes. Just barely, a tall figure stood nearby, holding a weapon. She tried to move, but her body wouldn't listen. The figure stepped closer. A human. Jera's heart raced. More fear, more pain. But then something strange happened. The human didn't shoot. He didn't raise his weapon. Instead, he slowly lowered it to the ground. He knelt beside them. His voice was quiet. "She's hurt," he said. Jera tried to speak, but her throat was dry. Still, she whispered, "Why God help us?" The man looked at her. His eyes were tired, but not cruel. "Because someone once saved me too," he said. Gently lifted Luma from her arms, then picked up Jera. She couldn't fight. She just watched as the red sky faded behind them. They moved through the forest, carefully, silently. The man seemed to know where to go. He walked fast but gentle, never letting them fall. After what felt like hours, they reached a hidden door in the ground. He opened it and carried them inside. It was a shelter. Small, quiet, safe. Jera faded in and out of sleep. She felt a soft bed under her, a warm cloth on her back. The pain was still there, but not as sharp. Voices came and went. Luma's soft whisper. The man's low voice. Then silence again. Finally, Jera woke fully. She sat up slowly. Her back hurt, but she was alive. Luma was asleep beside her, curled up like a kitten. And across the room, the man sat, watching. He stood when he saw her awake. "You're safe now," he said. Jera narrowed her eyes. "Who are you?" "My name is Ile," he replied. "I used to be a soldier." She didn't answer. "I left the war," he continued. "Didn't want to kill anymore." Jera still didn't trust him. She had seen what humans could do. But then she looked at Luma, sleeping peacefully. Maybe, just maybe, this one was different. Outside the fire still burned, but inside this quiet place, there was a new feeling. Not safety, not yet, but something close. Jera closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The war was not over, but for tonight, they had survived. And the story was just beginning. The first thing Jera noticed was silence. No fire. No arrows. No screams. Just the soft hum of air and the sound of her daughter breathing beside her. She opened her eyes. The ceiling above her was metal, old and cracked. Strange wires ran across the walls. This was not a home. It was a shelter. Underground, cold, hidden, her body still hurt. The bandage on her back was tight. She tried to sit up, but her arms trembled. "Don't move too fast," a voice said. Jera turned quickly. Her heart jumped. It was the same human, the one from the forest. He stepped forward. No weapon, no armor. Just calm eyes and a quiet voice. "You lost a lot of blood," he said. "That arrow almost killed you." Jera stared at him. Her voice was rough. "Where is my daughter?" He pointed to the corner. "She's safe, sleeping." Jera looked. Luma was wrapped in a blanket, her tiny hands holding a stuffed animal. One Jera had made from leaves and thread. Her chest relaxed. Just a little, then she looked back at the man. "Who are you?" He paused. "Name's Eli. Used to be a soldier." "Not anymore," Jera frowned. "A soldier for the humans?" He nodded once. Jera's eyes narrowed. Her muscles tensed. "Then why did you help us?" Eli sat down on an old metal box. He didn't answer right away. His hands were rough. His eyes had the kind of tired that doesn't come from sleep, but from memory. "There was a village," he said slowly. "Years ago, your kind lived there. My team was sent to clear it." Jera's breath caught in her throat. "But I didn't." "Follow orders," Eli said. "There were children. I couldn't do it. I helped some escape. My own people turned on me after that." He looked down. "I've been hiding ever since." Jera didn't know what to say. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Luma stirred. She sat up, rubbing her eyes. When she saw Jera, she smiled and ran into her arms. Jera held her tightly, her eyes never leaving Eli. Later, they ate a small meal in silence. The food was simple: roots, dry bread, clean water. Luma asked questions in a whisper. "Is he nice?" Jera didn't answer. Eli stood and walked to a wall covered in maps and wires. He tapped one with his finger. "I've been tracking patrol routes," he said. "Your people are being hunted, not just you." "The whole tribe." Jera looked up. "How do you know?" "I hear things," Eli said. "I listen to human comes." "You're not the only one running." Jera held Luma close. "We did nothing wrong, I know," Eli said. "But the ones in charge don't care." Jera's mind raced. Her people were peaceful. They had no weapons. Why attack them? And, more importantly, how did the enemy know where they were hiding? There was only one answer: someone betrayed them. That night, Jera couldn't sleep. She watched Eli quietly, the way he moved, the way he watched the door. He was calm, but alert. Like a man waiting for trouble. Luma slept beside her, holding her mother's hand. Jera whispered to herself, "Can I trust him?" She had no answer, but she remembered the moment in the forest when the arrow was flying toward her daughter, and the way Eli had dropped his weapon. No fear, no anger, just choice. A choice to help. She didn't understand him, but she knew one thing: without him they'd be dead. That meant something. Far away, in the forest, something moved. A masked figure stood beside the river where Jera had fallen. He knelt, touched the ground, and picked up a drop of dried blood. He sniffed it. His mask clicked softly. Then he stood. No words, just a slow turn toward the trees, and then he disappeared into the dark. The hunter had found the trail. He was coming, and he never missed. The forest was quiet again. No fire, no smoke, just trees tall and still. But something was wrong. Birds didn't sing. Wind didn't move. Even the animals had disappeared. Because something was walking through the trees. Not a soldier. Not a Fian man. A hunter. He wore no colors, no name tag, no rank. Just black armor, worn and silent. A helmet covered his face. One glowing red light blinked from his mask, scanning the ground. He stopped beside a tree, reached down. touched the broken branch where Jera had fallen. He picked up something small, a single silver thread from Jera's clothing. The hunter crushed it between his fingers, then looked ahead. No words. No emotion. Just the mission. Find the alien. Kill her. Take the child. He vanished into the trees like a shadow. Meanwhile, deep underground, Jera stared at a wall. Her back still hurt, but the pain had become part of her now. She didn't complain. Eli was working quietly across the room. He checked his scanners, listened to static-filled radio signals, made notes on an old paper map. Luma sat near the bed, drawing pictures with a broken pencil. She smiled, showing Jera her sketch. It was a drawing of Jera, Eli, and Luma, all standing together under a tree. Jera didn't smile. Not yet. She still wasn't sure what this strange man wanted, but something about the way he looked at her daughter, not with fear, but with care, made her stop and think. Where did you learn to use this equipment? Jera finally asked. Eli didn't look up. Military training. Years ago. I just never forgot how to survive. She walked closer. Why do you hide here? Why not leave this planet? He paused. I tried, he said. But some ghosts follow you everywhere. That answer told her nothing, but his voice wasn't cruel. It was just tired. Ira didn't press further. That night, Luma couldn't sleep. She kept tossing, whispering about sounds in the dark. Jera held her close, brushing her hair gently. I want to go home, Luma whispered. Jera closed her eyes. There is no home left, my love, only us now. Above them, in the forest, the hunter found something else. A burned tree. A few blood drops, footprints. He walked without sound, scanning every direction. He reached a large rock. His scanner beeped. Once, he stopped. His hand moved to his belt. He placed a small flat device on the ground. With a quiet click, the device sent a pulse underground, searching for heat, searching for life, and far below. Inside the shelter, Eli's screen blinked red. Something's out there, he said, standing up fast. Jera stood too. What do you mean? He pointed at the signal. A scan, not ours. Jera's face changed. They found us. Eli grabbed his rifle and opened a hidden hatch behind the wall. Tunnel, now. Jera picked up Luma and followed. The tunnel was dark and narrow, but Eli lit the path with a small blue light. Above them, the hunter stared at the rock. His device blinked green. Target confirmed. He drew a long, sharp blade from his back. Not for quick killing. For close work, silent. Slow. He began to dig deep in the tunnel. Eli moved fast. This tunnel goes to an old crash site, he said. One of your ships. Nobody searches there anymore. Jera said nothing. She held Luma tighter. She could feel it. The danger was getting closer. The hunter was near. She had no idea how far he'd go, but she would learn soon. And this time, she wouldn't be the one running. It started with a smell, not smoke. Not fire, metal. Jera's eyes snapped open. She was still holding Luma. Eli was beside them, breathing hard. Dirt from the tunnel covered his jacket. The blue light in his hand flickered. We need to move, he said. Ira didn't ask why. Somewhere above them, something had found the shelter. Something had scanned for life signs. Something fast. Something silent. It was already digging through the earth. They ran. The tunnel curved and narrowed. Old roots hung from the ceiling. Mud soaked their boots. The air grew colder, thinner. Luma coughed. Jera picked her up again, ignoring the pain in her back. She could still feel the old wound from the arrow, but fear was stronger than pain. In the shelter, dust fell from the roof. A small hole opened. The hunter dropped through it like a shadow. He stood still, listening, watching. No targets. He turned toward the back wall. The tunnel hatch was still open. Warm air drifted through it. They were close. He stepped forward, slow and careful. Every movement silent. He didn't chase with noise. He hunted with patience. Jera and Eli reached a rusted ladder. It led up into a broken ship, the remains of an old alien cruiser, long buried in the woods. "This is it," Eli said. "They forgot it was here. We can hide." Jera looked around. The ship was hollow, dark, and full of broken tech. Pieces of metal hung like skeletons. "A perfect grave," she whispered. "He won't stop." "I know," Eli said. He placed Luma in a small cubby, wrapped her in a blanket. Then he opened a metal panel and pulled out wires, glowing tools, and a strange round device. Jera watched. "What is that?" "Something I hoped I'd never use." He began setting it. 10 minutes later, a sound broke the silence. Step. Step. Step, not loud, not fast, but final.zh. Ira turned slowly. At the far end of the ship, near a shattered doorway, a shadow moved. The hunter had arrived. He didn't run. He walked forward, one step at a time, blade in hand. Jera stepped in front of Luma. Eli lifted his weapon, but the hunter moved too fast. In one blink, he was across the room. He kicked Eli's arm aside, sending the rifle clattering. Then, he turned toward Jera. She grabbed a metal rod, swung. The hunter blocked it. A hard hit sent her flying into a wall. Eli lunged forward, tackling the hunter to the ground. Sparks flew as they rolled. Luma screamed. The hunter punched Eli hard. Blood hit the wall, but Eli reached into his jacket, pulled the round device. He pressed a button. A flash. A sound like a cracking sun. The ship shook. The hunter flew backward, hit the ceiling, and dropped to the floor. Stunned.zh. Ira crawled to Eli, grabbed his arm. "We have to go now." He nodded weakly. She pulled Luma close, helped Eli to his feet, and they ran again. The forest was cold and dark. Behind them, the ship exploded. Not fire, just light and force. The sound echoed through the trees. Birds flew. Animals scattered, and the hunter was still alive, buried under metal, armor cracked, red light flickering from his helmet. He didn't move, but he wasn't dead. Not yet. Far away, deep in the trees, the trio kept running. Eli limped. Jera held his other side. Luma held her mother's hand tightly. No one spoke. Finally, they stopped by a river. The same one from before. Jera looked up at the sky. Black clouds, but behind them, stars. Just a few. Enough to remind her that hope still existed. She turned to Eli. "You saved us again." He coughed, smiled a little. "We're not safe. Not yet." Jera nodded. Then she looked ahead, past the trees, past the night. "We need to stop running." Her voice was low, but steady. "We fight now." The voice came from a broken machine, cracked, rusted, half buried in roots. And yet, it still spoke. Jera wiped the dust off the alien console. The glass was shattered, wires spilled out like vines. But when she touched it, it lit up. Just for her. A soft blue glow spread across the panel. Then, a sound. A voice. Not human. Not machine. It was one of her own. "Jera, if you're hearing this, we are already gone." She froze. Eli looked over. Luma clutched her mother's arm. The message continued. "They found us. They knew where to strike. They knew the paths, the shelters, even the river. There's no way they could have known. Unless someone told them." Jera's heart sank. "We had a traitor among us. They had stopped in. An old alien outpost, long abandoned, hidden beneath a stone cliff. Nature had taken it back, moss on the walls, trees growing through the roof. But the tech still breathed, quietly. Jera found the message while searching for supplies. She hadn't expected this. "Not here." Eli stepped beside her. "You okay?" She didn't answer. "Jera, I fear the traitor is someone close. Someone trusted. They are working with the humans. Trading lives for safety. Jera's hands shook. The message ended. The light faded. Silence returned. But something inside her had changed. That night, rain fell over the jungle. Cold, heavy. Inside the stone shelter, Jera sat alone. Her back to the wall, her eyes staring into nothing. A traitor. One of her own. That's how the hunters knew. How they followed her trail. How they almost killed her and her daughter. It wasn't random. Someone wanted her dead. Eli sat across the room, fixing a damaged drone. His hands moved with practice, but his eyes kept drifting toward her. "You don't trust me," he said quietly. Jera looked up. "Should I? I saved your life, twice. And you still wear their face." He nodded. "Fair." A long silence passed between them. Then Eli said, "I heard the message too." Jera looked at him sharply. He raised his hands. "I didn't betray you. But you need to know, traitors don't always look like enemies." Jera's jaw tightened. She thought of faces, familiar ones. Smiles, friends. Could one of them have sold her out? And why? Luma broke the silence. "Mommy," she whispered, pointing at the ceiling. "There's light." They looked up. Through a crack in the stone roof. A strange glow shimmered, blue and moving, like liquid stars. Jera stood and climbed up through the hole. Eli followed. At the top, they found something unexpected. A beacon. Ancient tech from Jera's people. It had activated again, and it was broadcasting. "What's it saying?" Eli asked. Ira listened. The message wasn't meant for humans. It was calling survivors, anyone still alive. A final hope. Eli stepped closer. "We could follow it. Find others." Jera nodded slowly. "But we're not just going to follow anymore." Eli raised an eyebrow. She turned to him, eyes sharp. "We find the traitor. We stop whoever's behind this. And we protect what's left." Luma climbed up beside her, holding her mother's hand. Together, the three of them looked out over the jungle. The rain had stopped. The clouds had broken. Stars were returning. And far in the distance, a red light blinked in the trees. The hunter had survived. He was still coming, but this time, they would be ready. The first trap was silence. Jera no longer ran. She waited, hidden deep in a broken canyon, where twisted metal from a crashed starship still lay. She moved like shadow. She didn't speak much. She didn't rest. She watched. She listened. And she planned. For the first time, Jera was not running from the hunter. She was drawing him in. Eli sat beside a half-dead console, rewiring the power core from the old ship. "This'll work," he muttered, sweat on his brow. "It has to." Across from him, Luma played quietly, building small shapes out of scrap. Metal, a tiny shield, a tiny sword. She didn't know it yet, but her mother was becoming both. 3 days had passed since they found the beacon. They had received no answers, no other survivors. Only silence. But Jera wasn't waiting for rescue anymore. She wanted the hunter to come. She had studied his patterns, silent, precise, emotionless. She knew how he tracked, how he thought. So she left signs. Not mistakes. Invitations. Footprints. Leading into the canyon, strips of silver cloth. A broken food wrapper. Drops of blood from her own hand. Eli watched her slice her palm open to leave a trail. "You don't have to do that," he said. "Yes," Jera replied, wrapping the cloth tightly. "I do." That night, the canyon grew colder. Fog rolled in, hugging the ground like smoke. Jera stood on a ridge, scanning the dark. Her heart was steady, her breathing calm. Below her, Eli had set the trap. The old starship's core had been rewired into a blast pulse, short range, enough to knock out weapons, sensors, armor systems. They only needed the hunter to step in the circle. Jera would take care of the rest. And far away, he came, through the trees, through the rocks. The hunter moved without sound. His red eye blinked slower now. His armor was damaged. One leg dragged slightly, but he did not stop. He followed the trail. Every broken branch, every mark of blood. He saw the canyon. He entered. Shara waited until the exact moment when his boot stepped onto the cracked stone. She pressed the signal. The trap exploded in light. A pulse of white energy surged across the canyon. Metal screamed. The hunter was thrown backward. His armor sparked. His mask cracked. Zhira dropped from the ridge like a hawk. She landed hard, rolled, and came up swinging with a metal rod. The hunter blocked her with his arm. Slower now. Less perfect, but still dangerous. Eli fired from above. One shot hit the hunter's shoulder, spinning him. Shara struck again, this time his leg. He stumbled, but then he adapted, even damaged. He moved with brutal speed. He tackled Shara. She hit the ground. His blade came up, inches from her throat. Her hand reached to her belt and pulled a flash bomb. Light, deafening sound. The hunter reeled back. Shara stood, bleeding, panting. Eli ran down the ridge, his rifle empty. He threw it aside and tackled the hunter again, this time pinning him against the canyon wall. Now, he shouted. Zhira pulled the final charge from her side, a magnetic pulse. Bomb. She slammed it onto the hunter's chest. Click, whir, pulse. The armor shut down. The hunter froze. Sparks flickered across his mask. His body twitched. He dropped to his knees. And for the first time, he spoke. A low, broken voice through a damaged speaker. You were not supposed to survive. Shara stepped forward. But I did. Her eyes locked on him. And I'm not done yet. She raised the rod. One final strike. The hunter fell, silent at last. Later, as the stars returned to the sky, Luma looked up at her mother. Is it over? Shara wiped blood from her hands and knelt beside her. No, she said. But now, we choose the fight. Ayla sat nearby, tired, bruised, but alive. He looked at Shara with quiet respect. You're not just a survivor anymore, he said. Shara looked back at the night sky. No, she whispered. I'm a warrior now. It began with silence again, but this time it wasn't fear. It was peace. The wind moved through the tall grass like whispers. Birds returned to the sky. No gunships, no red clouds, no shadows, just the hum of life. Shara stood at the top of a green hill, the sun behind her. Her silver skin caught the morning light. Her back still ached from the battle, but she stood tall, stronger now. Beside her, Eli sat on a rock, wrapping his arm with a fresh bandage, and below them, Luma ran barefoot through the grass, laughing. Her laughter was louder than the wind. Shara closed her eyes. After all the blood, the running, the fire, the sound meant everything. They had traveled for days after the fight, avoided patrols, hid from the skies. But in the end, the beacon led them here, a forgotten valley hidden between broken mountains. A place untouched by war. The scanners showed no signals. No human drones, no alien weapons. Just wildlife, water, and quiet energy deep beneath the ground. Eli called it a place outside the map. Shara called it home. She spent her mornings building, with stone, with tech, with time, her peoples. Memory lived in her hands. She crafted shelters from old ship parts, grew food from alien seeds, rewired the beacon to scan not for threats, but for survivors. Eli helped when he could. He built fences, dug trenches, installed solar panels. Never asked to lead. He just stayed, always near, always watching over Luma like a quiet guardian. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Luma looked up at the stars. Are there more like us? Shara placed a hand on her daughter's head. I hope so, she said. We'll find them. Eli nodded. Or they'll find us. One night, a message came through the beacon. Static. Then a broken voice, faint, alien, familiar. Shara, if you hear this. We survived. Jera's eyes widened. Her heart pounded. She pressed the reply switch, voice steady. This is Jera. We're alive. We are safe. Come home. Then silence again, but it was a new kind, not empty. Hopeful. Weeks passed. The valley bloomed. Luma planted flowers beside the shelter. Eli taught her to swim in the river. Jera watched, learning to let go of fear, little by little. One morning, Luma ran to her mother with wide eyes. Mommy, look. Jera turned. Above them, in the clear sky, a ship glided slowly, not a warship. No weapons. It was a search vessel. And on its side was the symbol of Jera's tribe. They had found her. Jera's hand shook as she reached for her communicator. This is Jera, she said, voice cracking. We're ready to begin again. That evening, Luma sat beside Eli, staring at the stars. Will there be no more war? Eli thought for a long time. There will always be people who choose hate, he said. But now, there's people choosing peace too. Luma nodded like she understood. Jera joined them, wrapping a blanket around her daughter's shoulders, and together, they watched the sky, quiet, full, alive, not red with fire. Not dark with ships. But clear. New. Asterisk. The sky isn't burning anymore, Luma whispered. Jera smiled, her voice soft. No, now. It belongs to us.